So today I'm going to show you all of the books that I read in January of 2023. I actually read 13 books. The only reason I was able to get so many in is because I was on winter break from school. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to go through the books and give a quick, my quick thoughts on each book. And yeah, so let's get started. Oh, okay, so the first book that I read was The Poison Season. I actually started this book in December of 2022. This was, I think it was from the December box. I can't remember. I'll put a note to say. I started this in December and I wanted to finish it before the year had ended, and I was already almost done with the book on December 31st. And my goal was to finish it before midnight, and I was staying up late because we were watching the New Year's Eve event on, they always host. And while I was watching it, I was reading this book because I wanted to try to finish it before midnight. I didn't. I actually finished it exactly at like 12:05, so I just considered this the first book that I finished in 2023. And so this is The Poison Season by Mara Rutherford. It was such a great book. I'm gonna pull up my review just so I can remember what I thought about it. Yeah, some of the top 3 words to describe this book. I put satisfying, cottagecore, and wild. This was a really immersive book. Like, to just read it, you could really feel that you were a part of the world. I highly recommend this book, especially if you love cottagecore or anything along those lines. I guarantee you'll like this book. And it was a very satisfying ending, so I'll put this here. And then the next book that I read, Moira's Pen. I got this book from the I'll Create Black Friday event, and this Moira's Pen by Megan Whalen Turner. I never read the original series that this book is actually based on. I believe it's the Queen's Thief saga, I believe. Yeah, I never read that series, but this was part of the Black Friday and I wanted to get it because I'm like, oh, it's on sale and it looks really pretty and it's a bunch of short stories, so it sounded really interesting. And I thought that I could read it having not read the Queen's Thief series, but I was a little confused, especially because all the characters had to do with the original series, so I wasn't as invested as I hoped that I would have been. But some of the short stories were pretty well on their own, but it's just a little warning. If you haven't read the actual series, this might be a little confusing. It is well written, so I'll give it that, and it's really cute, but I was a little lost. So that was the second book I read. And then this was the third book, The Darkening by Sunya Mara. This book, it was pretty good. I think I gave this a 3-star. The top 3 words that I used to describe this book is, not really words, maybe some of them are phrases: strong start, simple, and enemies to lovers to enemies. Yeah, so this was a pretty good read. The beginning really had me, really captured me. I was surprised at how the world was set up. It felt really adventurous and the stakes felt high. The problem is that it didn't keep that same feeling throughout the rest of the book, so a lot of the plot just seemed to fall conveniently into place. So that was what kind of took me out of the book. I was not feeling as invested in it anymore. The characters are okay, but I'm still gonna read the second book just because I really want to see what happens to the main characters. So I guess I am invested a bit. But yeah, so it's this book. And yes, I still would recommend it. I would recommend this for somebody who likes an adventure series and something that's a little bit easier to read. My next book is Jade Fire Gold by June CL10. This was from the October 2021 I'll Create. I also got this on sale. So the top 3 words to describe this book: mystical, quote-unquote Zutara, and adventure. Again, pretty simple, easy book. I don't remember where I had seen an ad for this claiming that it had Zutara vibes, that if you're a fan of Zutara to get this book and you would enjoy it. I didn't see the Zutara vibes in it, and while I was reading it, I was really looking for that feeling, and it just wasn't there. So I was a little disappointed with that. I don't remember where I even saw that comment claiming that this was a Zutara read style, and so maybe that was my own fault. But so yeah, this one was pretty good. The romance was a little bit weak in my opinion, maybe because again I was expecting Zutara and I didn't get it. So the romance that I was given, I was like, what? This isn't Zutara. Either way, I still recommend this book, especially if you like adventure. The thing with a lot of these books is that you never know, like, if you're gonna like it. So to try it out, I would recommend, just to see, maybe end up enjoying it, enjoying the series. I believe this is actually a standalone, so that's on its own. And then the next book that I read, so this one I actually started back in, no, apparently I started this book in January. I thought I had started this a while ago. I think I had read like the first chapter when I first got it, and then I stopped reading it, and I didn't consider that an actual start of me reading this book. But either way, Titanic, Skyward number 3. I love this book. This one's super adventurous, interesting characters, witty, funny. Highly recommend this book if you like something, if you like Star Wars or any adventure series. I recommend this book. So the next book that I read was Once Upon a Broken Heart. Where is it? By Stephanie Garber. I read her Caraval. I lied. I didn't read her Caraval series. I read the first book, Caraval, and then the second book was, I don't have it. I gave them away. I read Caraval, enjoyed it. The second book I think is Legendary. I don't remember. I didn't enjoy it as much, and I didn't read the third one. I don't know why I just stopped reading it. It just wasn't for me. But I did want to give this a shot. Once Upon a Broken Heart. I gave this a 4-star. Fantasy YA, magical, wintercore, and heartthrob romance. If you like romance books, magical stories, that vibe, this book is for you. I wasn't completely invested in it. And then that brings me to the next book that I read, which is the second part of the trilogy, is The Ballad of Never After. I was reading this book, and I really thought that this series was going to be a duology. I'm pretty sure it was selling itself as that in the beginning. And as I was nearing the end of this book, I'm like, there's no way this is just going to be a duology. This is a trilogy. And yeah, so this I got from Barnes & Noble. I actually don't shop at Barnes & Noble anymore, even though I really do appreciate it, you know, because it's easy access for books. But nowadays I actually buy all of my books from small business shops, small shops. And luckily here in San Diego we have quite a few shops that I can go to that specialize in different genres, as well as all around bookshops and secondhand bookshops as well. So that's where I've been getting my books from. This one's from Barnes & Noble. But this one is from Outcry. Look how cute it is. First of all, like the cover itself. Look at that. And then look at the inside. Oh, it's so cute. And then look at this. This book had really good cute quotes in it. And then here's like the art. That's really lovely. So for sure I'll be keeping this series just because of this book. Like, I don't want to give this away because it's so beautiful. I am going to read the third book because I am mostly invested in the characters, and I do want to see where they end up. That's here. Okay, this pile's getting too big. I'm going to put this over here. And then my next book is Silent Spring. I did start reading this July 28th, 2022. So I did start this one a while ago. I remember I got it because it was a recommendation from one of my professors. I am a grad student and I'm in environmental health. So they recommended this book and I'm like, I gotta read it, you know, it's my major. I'm glad I read it. This is, of the month, of the 13 books I read, I have 2 5-star reviews. This is the first one. I absolutely love this book. I mean, the author, Rachel Carson, she did such an amazing job at explaining and painting the picture of what environmental health issues are. The main one she talks about this in this book is the use of pesticides in our environment and how that has made a significant negative impact in our lives, in the world around us, and it's just painted so beautifully. Very novel style, but also a lot of very important factual information in here. So I highly recommend this book. I was punching the air when I was reading certain parts. I'm like, I can't believe so-and-so did this, did that. I do recommend this book. It'll get you fired up, especially if you're an environmental activist or you're just interested in learning about the history of America, and I recommend this book. Okay, so that was Silent Spring. And then the next one that I read, this is another one that I started a while ago, A Torch Against the Night. I started at the same time I started Silent Spring. That's super weird. But okay, July 2022 is when I started this book. I enjoyed the first book. I don't know what happened. I don't know if I waited too long to read the second one and I was no longer as invested in the series as a whole. Came around to this book, and I mean, it took me over a year to finish it. And when I do read it, I am invested in the characters, but as a whole, I don't find myself reaching for the book, eager to know what's gonna happen. The third book, A Reaper at the Gates, I'll be pausing. I'm not gonna start that one just yet. So I'm gonna take a pause on this series. Next book, The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I apologize, I'm very bad at reading names. They were selling this book as an enchanting competition. Enchanting, yes. Competition, not so much. I really did not feel the urgency of the competition and how lives were or are on the line. I didn't get that feeling, so at times this book did feel a little bit slow. There's a lot of POVs in this book, so that can be a little hard to get into because a lot of characters you have to keep up with and get invested in. I was mainly invested in the two main characters, and so whenever another chapter would come up with a character I wasn't too interested in, I found myself kind of wanting to skip through to get to the actual main characters that I enjoyed. But the romance is very lovely, so I do recommend this book solely for the fact that it is absolutely enchanting. Okay, putting this away. What Souls Are Made Of by Tasha Suri. This was a great read. I recommend it. If you loved Wuthering Heights, then yes, you should read this book. If you didn't, I wouldn't recommend it then. My next book, The Stardust Thief. This book by Chelsea Abdullah. Oh, this book was really, really good. Okay, this is another Barnes & Noble book, but I didn't buy it. My husband bought me this book in November? I can't remember when he bought it. And I remember he came home and he gave me the book, and I was so surprised. I'm like, what? You bought me a book? How nice. And then I'm like, where did you get it? And he's like, oh, we went riding up to Barnes & Noble and I got it. I'm like, please refrain from buying books from Barnes & Noble. I really did appreciate the gift. I told him I appreciated it, but from here on out, try to get books from the local bookstores. Especially, I've taken him to those bookstores. Either way, I'm very happy, and I'm glad he got this book. And it really shows how much he knows me and knows what kind of books that I like, because this one was incredible, and he's so proud of himself that I ended up really liking it. This is the second and last 5-star review that I gave for the month. Incredible, wanderlust, and absolutely captivating. I have a bad habit of kind of like speed reading through books I'm not particularly enjoying. I'm not sure if that's a bad habit, because you know what, if you're not enjoying it, then like go ahead and speed read, not a big deal. But this one, I had no desire to do that. I was reading word for word because I absolutely enjoyed each character. It's very rare that I like all the characters in a book, and this one I love them all. And so that's why I was so invested in their stories to see where it was gonna go. And this one actually had me gasping when certain things would happen, crying when certain things would happen. I highly recommend this book, especially if you love an adventure book. anything with magic, I highly recommend this book. This was a great read. Okay, and I can't wait for the next. It's a trilogy. It's already been like said it's a trilogy, so I'm glad I know that going into it. And the final book that I read for January, I actually finished on the 31st. Somewhere We Are Human. I got this book at an event. I'll put the name of the event because I genuinely can't remember it. But I loved that event. I'm so excited for this year's event. I believe it happens in August. And it was like a magical experience because it was different local bookstores coming together and just selling books, and a whole bunch of authors were there showing their books, and there were poem readings, and it was such a great event. I would like to show you guys what it was like because it was awesome. And before the event they even give you like a map and show you which authors are going to be there, what events, so you could sign up for them and sit, and that was really fun. So I had made a list of books that I wanted to buy. I think I could post a picture right here of the books that I got from that event, and this was one of them. I actually didn't need to buy this book. It was on my list, but it wasn't on my priority list. I was planning on getting another book by the she edited this one, but she wrote another one, Reina Grande. I wanted her other book. I'll put it right here because I don't remember it. And I ended up getting this one. It was like I was so like in the moment there, you know, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many books around me, and I just grabbed this one. I'm like, oh, Reina Grande, that's the book I wanted. It was a different one I wanted. Either way, this one is an anthology. It's different short stories, poems, and some artworks about migrants and their stories of coming to America or leaving America. It is absolutely, it's a great read. I recommend, you know, taking this piece by piece, maybe not trying to read it so quickly, and some of the stories, you know, they are emotional, so be careful, but I definitely recommend this book. And I think it's really important to broaden our horizons, to really think about others, and this book, that's really good. It's very eye-opening, and I recommend it. So that was the last book that I read for the month of January, and that's it. So thank you for watching this video. I hope I entertained you, and I should be posting another video soon. I might do like more in depth of some of the books that I really enjoyed. I probably want to do some unboxing videos because I am subscribed to Owlcrate and I really do enjoy their products. I wish I had done it last year because I got every Owlcrate from 2022 and I loved every single box, and I feel like I should have been doing unboxing videos. So for this year I'm planning on doing that. So yeah, again, thanks for watching my video. Hit the like and subscribe button. I've never done this before, but hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you for your time. You can get a video of my dog. He's like, what are you talking about?